what was the result of the test? Can I ask that?
This is Karchi, who has been using drugs for the past 20 years on the streets of Budapest.
So the hepatitis C is positive, but the HIV is negative because there are only one line.
Since 2013, Hungary has criminalized all drugs. Their goal was to be a drug-free country by 2020, but almost 2 years later, there can be concluded that this has failed.
Just look out of the window. We are a beautiful country with no drugs. No, I'm joking. Of course, we are not drug-free. Everybody knew that time when this drug strategy was adopted that this is a utopian dream, to make Hungary a drug-free country. Even the government acknowledged that this is a kind of, long-term goal, and they just want to have it as a vision. But at the same time, you can say that it's like world peace. You can reach world peace, and you may not reach it any time, but it may be a positive dream. But the dream of a drug-free country, I wouldn't say it's a positive dream, because many people are imprisoned and punished in the name of this dream.
The governmental organization that is responsible for the drug strategy that should have resulted in a drug-free Hungary by 2020 is the Drug Focal Point. To ask them about the strategy and the effects this currently has on people like Karchi and Peter, we tried to get in contact with them. We tried emailing, calling, and even went by the addresses that they had on their website. It soon became clear to us that the office of the Drug Focal Point wasn't located at these addresses. As a final attempt, we called from a Hungarian phone number. They immediately picked up. That's understandable. But we have to first get in contact with the ministry before we can get an interview with you, right? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, okay, no. Yeah, okay, thank you. And then we'll try. Okay. Thank you so much. We have to ask the ministry first if we can get an interview with them before they can actually do an interview with us.
Okay.
So
It's a bit confusing.
it's confusing, but we're gonna try. We tried and never got a response. Back home, we called back Peter Sarosi, and it became clear to us why.
They don't have any autonomy to decide if they can or not speak to the press. So that decision is made at the political leadership level of the ministry. And the people, I think like 3 or 4 people work for the focal point now. They are very low-level officials, so they cannot do anything else, just write an official permission to the ministry, and if it is denied, they cannot even communicate with you without risking that they are losing their job.
Right. Okay. Yeah, so they could lose their job if they would give me or you too much information.
Yes. Exactly.
If you are against the government, if you are not loyal to the government, then you will not get funding. You don't have channels to tell your opinions. So you don't have a risk. If you do what I do in Hungary, you don't have a risk to be arrested or imprisoned, but you have the risk of losing your connections, losing your kind of support and funding.
And this is exactly what happened to Daniel Varga.
So the current amount of money receiving or that is being received is
0. It's we are at the end of the 2021, and we haven't received a cent from the government to work this to fund this project, and we don't expect anything from the next year or so.
Yeah. So can it survive?
No.
This is Konkov, a drug prevention organization where Daniel Varga teaches kids about addiction through workshops and a guided exposition in the cellar of Konkov. This is one of the only places in Hungary where children can almost openly and safely talk and learn about drugs. However, for Daniel to receive governmental funding, he has to avoid harm reduction, the act of reducing the harm of doing drugs instead of reducing the use of drugs. Therefore, he can tell the children about the consequences of addiction, but not about how to use drugs in a safe way.
Mainly what's happening with these kids is that when they are, if they are not with us at our place, they will start finding their company, their gangs, their like forming street groups and getting into small crime, stealing from the shops, starting use some drugs or getting into bigger troubles. This is what we have seen when we came here, that these kids on the street, they have been in these deviant situations all the time.
It's remarkable that the government is not investing time nor money in drug prevention, since psychoactive substances are more on the rise in Hungary than in other European countries.
New cannabinoids, synthetic cannabinoids, which are substances produced in China and India, synthetic substances. Their psychoactive ingredient is similar to THC, which is the cannabis ingredient, and but they are synthetic and they are much more dangerous. They cause addiction. They have a higher addiction potential, and they can be overdosed, and you can die from synthetic cannabinoid overdose. And in just 12 months last year, there were 40 people who died because of synthetic cannabinoid overdose in Hungary.
Where they feel the consequences of the excessive psychoactive substance abuse is at the shelter of Hepago, where drug addicts can get tested on hepatitis and HIV. While we were doing an interview with an employee at the shelter, one of our cameramen noticed a visitor fainting. This was Karchi. After he recovered a little, he had to come in for a hepatitis and HIV test. Karchi allowed us to be present at the test and wanted to tell us more about his relationship to drugs.
And can I ask you what you use?
Mit használsz?
Crystal.
Yes.
Designer drugs.
Right, okay.
Marijuana?
Varázslány.
Okay.
Bio.
Hepago has been in contact with Karchi a few more times after we spoke to him. They're quite confident that they will be able to help Karchi with his needed treatment. When and if a new drug strategy will be put into effect in Hungary is unclear.
And this drug strategy expired last year. Now we are a country with drugs but without a drug strategy.